Welcome to today's Explainer. So, when you think of Florida, your mind probably jumps straight to a tropical paradise, right? You're picturing those beautiful sun-drenched beaches, the incredible wetlands, crystal-clear springs, and just endless sunshine. It honestly looks like the absolute perfect getaway. But, well, beneath the surface of this picture-perfect paradise lives a completely different world. It's a world packed with creatures so dangerous that one wrong step could put you in some very serious trouble. Today, we're counting down Florida's most dangerous animals, and trust me on this, you definitely do not want to meet number one at the wrong time.
So on one hand, yeah, we have the ultimate vacation destination. But on the other hand, Florida's ecosystems are absolutely crawling with powerful predators, enormous reptiles, and highly venomous snakes. Some of these animals hide deep beneath that dark, murky swamp water, while others have such brilliant camouflage they are practically invisible until you're right on top of them. And I'm going to give you a little tease right now. The number one most dangerous animal on our countdown today, it is so incredibly small that you might not even realize it's attacking you until the damage is already done.
Section 1. Beasts of Land and Sea. Okay, let's dive right into this and begin our countdown by looking at some of the large, physical threats you might bump into when you're outside the swamps. Exploring the forests, the rural areas, and the coastal waters.
Kicking us off at number 10 is the Florida black bear. Now, when most people think about Florida wildlife, bears probably aren't the very first thing that comes to mind. But the state actually has a really substantial population of them. These powerful animals can weigh hundreds of pounds, and despite all that bulk, they are surprisingly fast. Now, most black bears are just going to naturally avoid humans. The real danger kicks in when they get a little too comfortable around people. This usually happens when they start finding easy food near houses, campsites, or in your garbage cans. A bear might look cute and cuddly from a distance, but remember, this is a massive wild animal that can cause serious injury. Never approach one and absolutely never try to feed it.
Moving right along to number 9, we have wild boars. Florida's lush forests are packed with huge populations of wild hogs, and I literally cannot stress enough how much more dangerous these animals are than they might look. Adult wild hogs are exceptionally strong and incredibly fast. The males carry these razor-sharp tusks that can cause some really severe injuries. Now, kind of like the bears, most wild boars will avoid you if you give them enough space. But if you encounter a frightened, cornered, or injured one, it can get highly aggressive. And because they can just suddenly burst out from thick, dense vegetation, you could find yourself in a very dangerous spot with almost zero warning.
Let's head over to the beach for number 8, the Portuguese Man of War. Imagine you're taking a nice relaxing stroll along a beautiful Florida beach, and you spot what looks like a deflated, colorful balloon just lying there in the sand. Listen to me very carefully. Whatever you do not touch it. That colorful little balloon could be a Portuguese man of war.
Now, what's really fascinating about this creature is the biology behind it. Technically speaking, a Portuguese man of war isn't actually a single jellyfish at all. It's a siphonophore, which is basically a colony of specialized organisms that all work together as one single unit. Its long tentacles are just packed with venomous stinging cells that trigger this intense, searing pain the second you touch them. And here is the truly frightening part. Even if you find a completely dead one washed up on the shore, those tentacles can still deliver a massive sting. So if you see one, definitely admire its beautiful colors, but do it from a very safe distance.
Hitting number 7 in our countdown is the bull shark. Florida is completely surrounded by warm coastal waters, making it prime real estate for a lot of shark species. But one of the most intimidating, by far, is the bull shark. These guys are heavily built, incredibly powerful predators, and what makes them command so much respect is their unique ability to survive in both saltwater and freshwater. They can literally travel right inland into rivers and estuaries, which puts them way closer to areas where humans are swimming, wading, or fishing. Now, let's keep things in perspective. Shark attacks are still extremely rare when you consider the millions of people in Florida's waters, but bull sharks absolutely deserve your respect. In murky river water, you might never even see one coming.
Section 2. The deadly reptiles. All right, we're stepping away from the coastlines and heading into the iconic Florida swamps. We're going to slow our pace down just a little bit here, because we are officially entering the territory of venomous snakes and absolutely massive apex predators.
Revealing our number 6 spot, the eastern Diamondback rattlesnake. This is one of the largest, most formidable venomous snakes in all of North America. It gets its name from that very distinctive diamond-shaped pattern on its back, which makes it super easy to recognize, well, if you actually see it. The terrifying problem is that this pattern works as brilliant camouflage in the brush, making the snake incredibly hard to spot until you are practically stepping on it. A bite from this guy is an absolute medical emergency.
Thankfully, they really don't want to attack humans. You know that famous rattle they have? It's basically the snake being polite, but firm. It's saying, hey, I am here, do not come any closer. And that is a warning you should absolutely listen to.
Presenting number 5, the Cottonmouth. Imagine walking near the edge of a swamp. You glance down toward the water, and suddenly you notice this really thick-bodied snake resting there. You might be looking at a cottonmouth, which people also call a water moccasin. These are venomous snakes that are just deeply associated with Florida's wetlands. When a cottonmouth feels threatened, it has this signature defensive move. It will coil right back and open its mouth wide, flashing the bright, pale white interior. That stark flash of white is exactly what gives them the name cottonmouth. Despite having a pretty aggressive reputation in local folklore, they actually prefer to just avoid us. But accidentally stepping too close in the tall grass, that can create a highly dangerous situation.
And yes, Florida actually does have crocodiles. The American crocodile takes our number 4 spot. Compared to the much more common American alligator, crocodiles typically have these narrower, more V-shaped snouts, and they're adapted to tolerate saltier environments, mostly down in southern Florida. These are big, powerful predators. Now, attacks on humans by American crocodiles are exceptionally rare. The real danger here actually comes from complacency, from people just forgetting that these animals are wild, apex predators. Never feed them, definitely don't try to get close for a selfie, and never ever assume that a giant reptile lying perfectly still on the bank isn't paying attention to you, because I promise you, it probably is.
For number 3, we look deep inside the Everglades at a predator that was never even supposed to be there, the invasive Burmese python. What makes the Burmese python so lethal is that it's a constrictor, so a constrictor doesn't use venom. Instead, it kills its prey by wrapping its massive muscular body around the animal and just systematically restricting its ability to breathe and circulate blood. These enormous snakes can grow to just extraordinary lengths, and their impact on the native wildlife in the Everglades has been completely devastating. Now, are they a major threat to humans? Actual attacks on people are extremely rare. But let's be honest, stumbling across a massive 15-foot python in the wild is something anyone would want to avoid. The fact that these giants are successfully reproducing and thriving out there makes them one of Florida's most disturbing invasive threats.
Unveiling our number 2 spot, the American alligator. You simply cannot separate Florida from alligators. The state has a massive population of them. They are everywhere. Lakes, ponds, rivers, canals, you name it. And as you've probably seen on the news, they even show up in swimming pools or just wandering across golf courses and residential neighborhoods. Most gators naturally avoid humans, but dangerous encounters absolutely happen. The risk just skyrockets when people decide to feed them, because then the alligator associates humans with a free meal. The thing you really need to remember is that alligators are incredibly fast over short distances on land and immensely powerful in the water. If you're near fresh water, especially around dawn or dusk, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Keep your pets away from the water's edge, because a gator can strike from the murky depths with almost zero warning.
Okay, so here we are. We have officially reached the climax of our countdown. Let's just pause for a second. We've talked about venomous snakes, massive wild boars, aggressive sharks, dinosaur-like alligators, and giant pythons. I want you to really ask yourself, what could possibly beat all of those for the number 1 spot? What could be more dangerous than a 500-pound bear or a crocodile?
The number 1 most dangerous animal in Florida is something entirely different. It requires a complete shift in how we actually think about danger and public health. It is not a massive apex predator. It doesn't have razor-sharp teeth, and it definitely can't swallow you whole.
It's the mosquito. Yep, I know, you're probably surprised, maybe even a little underwhelmed, but let's look at the facts here. Mosquitoes are capable of transmitting serious diseases, including West Nile virus and a whole variety of other mosquito-borne illnesses. Unlike a gator, a mosquito doesn't require you to hike deep into a swamp or swim in a murky river. It can find you right in the comfort of your own backyard. Its attack is almost completely silent, and you might not even realize you've been bitten until way later when the itching starts.
Now, of course, the overwhelming majority of mosquito bites you get in Florida are simply going to be irritating. But we really have to look at this from a broad public health perspective. Because of their sheer numbers and their ability to act as vectors for disease, mosquitoes have the potential to pose a far greater widespread risk than any of Florida's large, terrifying predators. It's a pretty fascinating twist, right? The animal we fear the least, the one we literally just swat away without a second thought, might actually be the one we should be paying the most attention to when it comes to staying safe.
Actually, before we wrap up the threats, we have a quick bonus entry for you. Fire ants.
Kind of like mosquitoes, this is a tiny insect that absolutely packs a punch. If you accidentally step on or disturb their nest, which by the way just looks like a little mound of dirt in the grass, they will swarm you in groups. Their stings cause this intense, painful burning sensation and produce incredibly itchy bumps. For most people, it just ruins your afternoon, but for some, these stings can trigger severe allergic reactions that need immediate medical attention. It's just another reminder that in Florida, danger really doesn't always come in a large package.
Section 3. How to survive Florida. Okay, let's pivot and take a deep breath. After all of that, you might be thinking, is Florida literally just a terrifying death trap? The answer is no. Yes, the dangers exist, but that absolutely doesn't mean you should be afraid to explore this incredible state. Millions and millions of people safely enjoy Florida's beaches, state parks, and wetlands every single year. The reality is that most wild animals want absolutely nothing to do with us. Problems usually only pop up when people make bad decisions, like getting too close for a photo, trying to feed the wildlife, ignoring warning signs, or just accidentally surprising an animal that's trying to rest.
If you want to safely enjoy everything Florida has to offer, just follow these simple rules. 1. Respect the wildlife. 2. Keep your distance at all times. And 3. Always pay attention to your surroundings, especially near the water or in tall grass. Remember, when we step into Florida's wilderness, we are stepping into their home. We're just visitors, and we need to act responsibly.
And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. So I gotta ask, which animal on this list scares you the most? Would you rather face down a 500-pound bear or deal with the silent, invisible threat of disease-carrying mosquitoes in your own backyard? The wild irony of Florida is that its most beautiful elements, the water, the warmth, the wild nature, are exactly what invite its greatest perils. Tell me your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this explainer, stay tuned for our next deep dive. Remember, in paradise, the danger isn't always what you see, it's what you don't. Watch where you step.